Well, good day, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino Beer Review. Today you have the Rhino, and we're looking at beer. The beers are all over beside me, so we're just going to reach out and grab one, right? We're just going to reach out and grab one. Okay, what did we get? Ravens Brewing Company. It's probably the best choice we could have had to start the night off. Ravens Brewing Company. All Father Pilsner, 5% alcohol by volume. So these guys are in Abbotsford, British Columbia. Look at that label. He is one scary dude with his spear and his I don't know, hawks. And well, I guess they'd be ravens because this is Ravens Brewing Company. Looks a little, I guess, some ravens are big, so yeah, I guess so. Oh yeah, because on his arm is a raven, so that one is just a big raven. He has his giant old boar spear sitting on a big old throne and a big rock thing. Over here, you got... It's a very in-depth label. Now, I've talked before about how these are not the labels I particularly enjoy the most. I particularly enjoy the most the fairly simple labels, but I can't deny when a label is a nice label. And that's a nice label. We have our $280 can holder. So we'll put the can on there. Thank you. And yeah, we'll get to this, shall we? Where's my cup gone? I had a cup down here. It was clean. Where'd it go? It's right here. I found my cup. So I have 4 of these, which is why you see these so often. And the only beer glasses I have are the 4 of these, my regular just pint glass that says from my kids, the ones who make me drink, and then 2 steins, little tiny steins like for smaller beers. I should run upstairs and close that door so the dogs don't run down here because there's wet cement down here. The problem is you can't pause. You can't pause a video on an iPhone. You can pause a video on an Android phone, not an iPhone. So I had somebody make a joke. I'm not going to name them because you guys can all figure out who it is. But he made a joke. He's like, I think, look at that $200, almost $300 can holder. And I'm like, yeah, well, this $288 part is still sealed. It's even sealed in cellophane. Like, I've just never used it. I meant to, never got around to it because I was working so much when I was in Deer Lake. And I bought it because I actually finally had enough money to do something. And I finally was on internet that was good enough to do something. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy this and this is what I'm going to do. And then I found out how much work I was going to be doing. So it's just never been opened. And I put it up for sale for like $110. And I have people going, I'll give you $60. Yeah, it's like $325 after taxes. I'm not taking $60 for it. I will use it to hold my fucking cans on video. That's what I will do with it. Until maybe one day I have the money to buy a video game system again. And then I can go, you know what? Let's do some streaming. Basement smells like shit because my wife keeps having diarrhea down here. The reason she's having diarrhea down here, even if I'm down here doing videos, is because the toilet upstairs, the floor is rotting under the toilet. So I have to encase it in and put a new flange on and all that. And I don't have the money or the time to do that yet. So us 2 larger people are using the toilet down here and the 2 smaller people are using the toilet upstairs. And that's just what we're doing. Okay. So it's a Pilsner, but it does have some haze to it. It's hazy, bright white head. There is a nice snap, crackle, pop. Scent out of the glass. Sweet, straw, a little bit like Hoffman's Pro Step horse feed. Yeah, that's right. I can now talk about how horse feed smells comparatively to a beer because I'm moving horse feed most days out of the can. A little tinny, but I mean, you get that a lot of times out of a can. A little bit astringent, to be honest, and sweet and grassy. So, I mean, the smell isn't necessarily wrong. It's not necessarily wrong. A lot of the Pilsners I've been having lately have been in the like 4.8 to 5.2 range. So this is right there at a direct 5. I know that'll piss Chris off, but hey, cheers. Now, if this was 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh, gross, this is a Pilsner. Nowadays, I seem to be respecting Pilsners more than I ever did in the past. That being said, this one's not really for me. It is, even though it's hazy and all that, it's a light to medium bodied beer. It has a little more heft in it in the mouth, but it's fairly light on the palate. Okay. It's gotten a little more hazy too since we poured the rest of it in. The straw and cut grass that is reminiscent of a older style Pilsner, the quintessential Pilsners, it is there. The moderate to sharp carbonation that some Pilsners have is not there. This is pretty. The reason I say medium body too is it's kind of creamy on the mouth because the carbonation does seem to be lower. But there is an astringent flavor in there that I'm not a fan of. And the back end is sweet and a little bit peppery. So you're not getting that cut grass flavor that you get a lot in a Pilsner. That being said, it's not a bad beer. It's still above a 5. It's still a drinkable beer that I could drink, but if I'm going to go for a Pilsner, I don't think I would ask for Raven's Allfather. Now, if I was just drinking, I have no problem with somebody bringing Raven's Allfather over. I'd be like, hey, I've had that. Now, also keep in mind, I don't drink my beers cold, which does change the dynamic of the beers. It lets the molecules move a little faster, lets taste be a little more in your face, a little more poppy. Excuse me. One of the reasons you drink a lot of domestic beers cold is because you don't really taste anything. The colder it is, the easier it just goes right down your throat. And if this was cold, it would probably drink rather nicely. I would suspect with a cold beer, giving me this at like 2, 3, 4, even 5 degrees, I would lose the astringency and I would get the pepperiness and the straw and a little bit of graininess. That's what I'm expecting I would get on this. I think that it might have a little bit more bitterness still on the back end than I would personally love. But I think if this was cold, I could sit down and just drink a bunch of them. It being bedroom temperature. Yeah, that's right. This is my bedroom. I sleep on the floor. My wife doesn't. No, like I said before, we've taken the basement apartment. This is part of the apartment, so it's become my my little alcove. I would say the way it is right now as a warm beer, probably give it a 6. It's a solid beer still. So cheers, Ravens All Father. Bye-bye.